How about making a delicious and very easy Hungarian recipe for you to have a complete and nutritious dinner? Today's recipe is chicken paprikash, with a secret ingredient that will add more flavor to your dish. This recipe goes great with rice, and the rice I made is a rice I make with quinoa. If you want to make this recipe, I'll leave the link to the video here. I love making chicken paprikash because it's super healthy, tasty, and healthy. I'll show you step by step, and I'm sure you and your friends will like it too. Before we start, I want to invite you to subscribe, share, and give your like, so we can bring more valuable content that will help you improve your cooking skills. To start, I'm going to marinate the chicken for about 1 hour in the refrigerator. If you don't want to marinate, you can skip this part, but I prefer it because it's more flavorful. Here I have 1.3 kilograms of bone-in chicken. I'll crush the garlic. You can use 3 to 4 cloves of garlic. I love garlic, so I'll use it according to my taste. The amount is up to you. You can also use less. After crushing the garlic, I'll set it aside in a container. Now I'll add half of the crushed garlic. I'll use the other half later. Now I'll add a teaspoon of sea salt. I'll use 2 tablespoons of vinegar, 1 tablespoon of turmeric, and mix everything. Now I'm adding black pepper. I'll add about half a teaspoon of black pepper. Now I'll add the chicken and mix well to marinate. Then put it in the refrigerator to add more flavor to our recipe. While my chicken is marinating in the fridge, I'll toast the garlic I set aside earlier. I'll use about a tablespoon of coconut oil without a coconut flavor, as it's healthy and tastes great. You can find this cooking coconut oil online. I'll leave the link in the video description. After toasting my garlic, I'll set it aside to add at the end of the recipe. I like toasting garlic because it adds more flavor. I think I toasted a lot of garlic this time, but it's not a problem because I can use it for other recipes later. I'll use red bell pepper and onion, and I'll also use a cube of pork fat. If you don't want to use pork fat, you can substitute it with a tablespoon of coconut oil, and it'll work just fine. I'll chop a whole onion. The onion will add flavor to our recipe and melt while it's under pressure, making it very tasty and delicious. Now I'll chop the red bell pepper. Make sure to remove the seeds before chopping the red bell pepper. Now that I've chopped the bell pepper, I'll set it aside in a bowl for later use. Now I'll chop the pork fat, about a tablespoon. In addition to adding more flavor, pork fat is a natural fat. But you can use coconut oil, preferably cooking coconut oil. In this pan, I'll cook the pork fat to melt it. I'll also use a tablespoon of coconut oil to make it more flavorful. Yes, I love cooking with natural fat. It's very good for your health. I'll now cook the onion in the oil. Cook it at low temperature, being careful not to burn the onion. While the onion is cooking, I'll start preparing the chicken in another pan to sear the meat. I'll put a teaspoon of coconut oil in this frying pan. The pan is at medium temperature this time, just enough to sear the meat. Don't cook the chicken at a low temperature. When you sear the meat like this, the texture turns out great. While that's happening, I want to ask you to subscribe, leave your like, and share because we'll bring much more content for those of you who want to learn how to cook in a healthy, tasty, and knowledgeable way. After searing the chicken, I'll set it aside to cook later in the pressure cooker. I'll add a tomato sauce. I'll use a simple tomato sauce. In the pressure cooker, I've already added the onion. Remember that I switched pans, so the pressure cooker should be cold for me to add the other ingredients now. Since I'm making a Hungarian recipe, of course, I'll use paprika. I'll use 2 tablespoons of paprika. I'll mix it with the onion. Now that I've mixed the paprika with the onion, I'll cook it at low temperature and then mix in the chicken I've already seared. Now I'll add the tomato sauce, and after adding the tomato sauce, I'll use the same volume of water. Next, I'll add the red bell pepper and mix well, still at low temperature. I'll add 2 teaspoons of salt now. Mix well. And add more water to cover the chicken. I'll use the same measurement as the tomato sauce, and then I'll cook it in the pressure cooker at medium temperature. Once the pressure cooker starts building pressure, I'll cook it for 15 minutes and then check on it. After 15 minutes in the pressure cooker, I'll add black pepper, about a teaspoon of black pepper. To add extra flavor, I have an Italian herb mix here. You can also add oregano if you don't have the Italian herb mix. I'll add a tablespoon of the toasted garlic I had set aside earlier. 1 tablespoon is good. Lastly, I'll add a bay leaf and cook under pressure. As soon as the pressure starts, I'll cook for 10 more minutes at low temperature. Don't cook at high temperature. Now it's almost ready, and yes, I tasted it, and it's delicious. I've turned off the heat, and finally, I'll add my secret ingredient for this wonderful recipe, mascarpone. It's like a special cream cheese, and it's delicious. About 100 milliliters of mascarpone. This cream adds a special flavor. I used to use sour cream, but mascarpone is much tastier. I'll add it like this. In a container with a little sauce, I'll dissolve the mascarpone and then add it back to the pan and stir well. Now it's ready, and it's delicious. This chicken paprikash is very okay, so good. It yields a lot and is very nutritious. I make this recipe often, and it goes great with sauerkraut. I'll bring a sauerkraut recipe with both red and green cabbage, which has more vitamins, so subscribe here to very okay. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends and family. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, very okay, for more videos on healthy eating and lifestyle tips. Thank you for watching.